Here there had been a summary execution of about 50 people, all who had been decapitated.
Hey guys, Christopher Norse Rain. Today I'm going to talk about a quite unknown event in Viking history, which is referred to as the St. Brice's Day Massacre. It's basically a flat-out ethnical cleansing of all Danish men in England. And it happened on the feast day of St. Brice, which was the 13th of November in 1002. But how bloody was the massacre, really? Let's find out.
Saint Brice was a 5th century Frankish bishop. During his lifetime, he was both revered and exonerated in his duties, but he is best known for the massacre ordered in his festival day by King Ethelred of England. On hearing a rumor of a Danish plot to assassinate him, the Saxon king Ethelred the Unready ordered the extermination of all Danes in England. And in this year the king ordered all the Danish men who were in England to be slain. This was done on St. Brice's feast day because it was made known to the king that they treacherously wanted to deprive him and all his counselors of life and to possess the kingdom thereafter. As a result of the invasion of the great heathen army in the 9th century, the contours of the Danelaw were created. A treaty was made between Alfred the Great, King of Wessex, and Guthrum, the Danish warlord, in 878, and later formalized in 886, with the purpose of peaceful coexistence between the Anglo-Saxons and the Norse. Danelaw officially ended in 954, and even though the Norse and Anglo-Saxons had been living in some form of harmony for over 100 years on the island, there was still resentment towards the Norse.
So, how many Danes actually died in the massacre? Well, we know very little about that. We have a strong theory, though, that most of the attacks was done outside of the former Danelaw area, because attacking inside of the Danelaw area would have been a far more challenging task.
For a long time, we have had no archaeological finds to substantiate the claims of the massacre, but this all changed in 2008 and 2009, when 2 Viking mass graves were found in Oxford and Dorset. Both graves carbon dated roughly to the time of the massacre. In Oxford, skeletal remains of 37 bodies were found, all male except for 2 who were too young to establish their sex, and most were between 16 and 25 years old. As a group, they were taller and stronger than their Anglo-Saxon attackers, but despite physical advantages, they all suffered most violent deaths in a frenzied attack. Based on the injuries, it seems like the Vikings did not stand to defend themselves, but receiving blows from multiple attackers while trying to escape. 1 was decapitated and 5 others were attempted decapitated. 27 of the skulls were broken or cracked. The back and pelvic bones of 20 bodies had stab marks, as did the ribs of 12 others. A number of skeletons also bore signs of charring, indicating that they were burnt prior to burial. All these finds are coherent with a royal charter of 1004, written 2 years after the massacre, explaining the need to rebuild the church where part of the massacre took place. It explains how the Danes were sprouting like cockle amongst the wheat, and the need for a just extermination. It continues to describe how the fleeing Danes broke into the church in an attempt to defend themselves, and how they were burnt alive inside. Those who tried to escape were chased down and killed. In Dorset, another mass grave was found, also believed to be connected to the massacre, but different methods were used. Here, there had been a summary execution of about 50 people, all who had been decapitated, with bodies in one pile and skulls in another. More bodies were found than skulls, which could suggest that some of the skulls were put on stakes instead. Unlike the battle-worn skeletons in Oxford, the skeletal remains found in Dorset did not show any evidence of old battle injuries. One person had had their teeth filed though, which may have been a symbol of status or occupation, but it's not unthinkable that this modification was done to pay tribute to Viking raiders. According to the archaeologists, they had been stripped naked before being beheaded. They were untied but did not show any defensive wounds. Most of the men were between 18 and 25, the youngest in his early mid-teens, and the oldest was over 50. On a side note, recent DNA testing has shown that one of the slain Vikings found in Oxford in 2008 was closely related to a slain Viking found in Otterup, Denmark, in 2005. Both of them died following violent incidents. They were either half-brothers or uncle and nephew. They are currently reunited for the occasion of an exhibition called The Raid at the National Museum of Denmark. Also, a high-profile Viking went missing during the Norse cleansing. Gunhild, sister of Svein Forkbeard, together with her husband and their child. There are no written records of what happened to them, but it is believed that they were all victims of the massacre. The aftermath of the St. Brice's Day massacre was not what Ethelred had hoped for. The next summer, Svein Forkbeard attacked Exeter, which Ethelred had earlier bestowed to his wife Emma of Normandy. Heavy attacks then followed on Wessex and Wilton, and by the time Ethelred died in 1016, almost all of England was ruled by Svein's son, Canute, which also married Emma the next year.
So, that's pretty much what we know about the St. Brice's Day massacre so far. 90 dead bodies doesn't seem like that much for a nationwide massacre, but I think it's safe to assume that there are still several Viking mass graves that haven't been discovered yet. If anyone really did plot against Ethelred and did plan to take his life, we won't really know. But what we do know is that the people that got slain in the massacre were Norse people basically just going on with their lives. So they didn't really pose a threat to Ethelred. So in that sense, the massacre was more or less pointless. If anything, it makes Ethelred live up to his nickname, which was Ethelred the Ill-Advised. If you like this kind of content, like the video and subscribe to Norse Reign. I'm posting new videos once a week, so be sure to check in the next Sunday for a new video. You can also follow me on social media. Norse Reign is on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. That's it for now, folks. I'll see you on the next one.